Okay, everyone, I want to welcome you all here. Can everybody hear me okay? If you can, just type yes. Hey, Brian, loud and clear. Welcome, Carolyn. Welcome, John. Who else we got here? I see Mel. I see Pat. Welcome, Pat. I see Daryl, BJ. Who else we got here, folks? Sidra, welcome. Stan, Stefan. How about you, Robert? You here?
I am here.
Beautiful. Okay, so I love it when everybody comes on time, and I thank you all. And let's get started with our now famous webinar, because we can't decide whether we're doing a webinar or a hangout, so we'll just hang out on the webinar. By the way, before we even get started today, that's a lesson in and of itself. Creating your own language is always a way to create a great following. So you'll see many thought leaders, and actually, as terrible as it is to say, you'll also see many people that are leaders of cults creating their own language. But leaders create their own language, and when you understand that you're really trying to build a community and you're trying to build a group of followers, having a language, every industry, by the way, has their own language, every religious group has their own language, every profession has its own sort of terminology and language. So we're creating a word here. The more you're able to do that, the better for you. So again, I'm assuming everybody can hear me. I expect this session to be very, very well attended. Robert, you got anything you want to say before we get going?
Nope. I just thanks to everybody for coming this week. I'm excited about this this webinar webinar.
Okay. So, you know, I sent everybody, Robert, an email today, and the email said weird in the top. You coming today, weird. Did all of you get that? Just type in yes or no if you saw that email today. So Pat says yes. John says yes. Who else? Who else saw that email? Sidra said yes. See, Stefan said yes. So, you know, that really is another kind of lesson. Brian Saviano says yes. Daryl says yes. See, it got you to open it because it's kind of, frankly, it was a little weird. Who puts weird in the headline? But it is weird because most people that are bringing you to a webinar in our field are bringing you to a webinar really just to sell you something. You know, in this case, there's nothing for sale. If you go to, and I see someone's asking for, will the replay be available? The answer to that is maybe. And why do I say maybe? Because, you know, sometimes we've had situations where we weren't able to capture the replay. We had every intention of doing it, but it doesn't always work that way. But really, you know, the better part of this is to commit this like half hour or hour to using this time once a week to grow your business, because that's what all these hangouts are about. And if you go to localclientformula.com, just type on the weekly hangout tab, and you can see the previous ones. And, you know, Robert and I do this really to help you. Again, this is not a pitch, nothing's for sale, you know, don't even worry about that. We want to help you. Why do we want to help you? Number one, because we can. Number two, it makes us feel good. And number three, we will be coming out with products occasionally, and this way you know we're real and we're not just, you know, pie in the sky people. But if we can give you one good tip each week that'll help you grow your business, that's what this is about. The reason to be here, of course, and not watch the replay is so that you can have your own questions answered. So let's get going. What do you say, Robert?
Sounds good.
All righty, let's dig in. So I want to share with you, and actually this could be like a couple hours, but I know everybody's time is kind of sensitive, so I'm going to hit on the important points here. I think many of you may be subconsciously killing your sales. Now, that could be taken two ways, right? Who, just by a show of hands here, or type in the box, who here, their sales seem to be on track, and who would like to do better? just type in real fast because I want to sort of get a sense of where everyone on this call is. Just write okay or better. You're doing okay, or you want to be doing a lot better. So Daryl says yes. I'm not sure what we're saying yes to. I wish I could have you all live in person, actually. Just type in the box, okay, I'm doing okay, or want to do better. Okay, so here we go. Better, better, please. Hey, Brian. Okay, good. All right. So let me explain to you what I'm trying to say here. Some of you may be killing your sales subconsciously because maybe you have some image issues or some other barriers you need to overcome. I'm not talking about mindset issues here. What I'm talking about are signals that you are sending to your prospect that is making them run away from you instead of coming closer. So does that make sense? Okay. So this is good stuff. What are your customers seeing in their minds about your business? Because see, here's the trick, and this is something really, really worthwhile writing down, okay? Your customers are making their decisions about you pretty much instantly. It's a snap decision. Whether you like that or not, it doesn't matter whether you like anything I'm about to tell you, but you need to pay attention to it because it's really important to your business. And that's really where they really make their decisions. Before you even say a word, people get a gut feeling. You ever have a gut feeling about something, either very positive or very negative? And that's what I want to share with you here. And this is really, really important. So I'm going to give everybody a second to sort of grab a pen and a pad of paper. And you want to be writing these things down. Your customers are making snap decisions, just like you do, by the way. And here are some of the things that influence them. See, what your prospects really do is they make their decision emotionally, and then they justify it with logic. So let's take the example of a Mercedes. Okay, here's what happens with a Mercedes. People will buy a BMW or a Mercedes or a Volvo or any Audi, a luxury car, and they're really buying it for emotions. They're buying it for the way it makes them feel. They're buying it for status. They're buying it for whatever reason, that is emotional to them. And then they justify it by saying, Mercedes is safer, BMW is safer, it holds its value better, it's a much nicer ride, it's safer to put the kid in, whatever the case may be. And we all go through these things, don't we? Okay? But they are making their decision pretty instantly, by the way. And if you have some free time, it's very interesting to study the ways people make decisions and why they make these decisions. Okay, and there's like a whole field now of neuroscience and marketing. I think it's actually called neuromarketing. So let's talk about what we're doing. So how is your phone answered? Does it go directly to your cell and you answer it? Are you home with your kids with a TV in the background? Is it going to a receptionist? Type in here what's happening in your situation. What's happening when I call your office? I assume everybody has finger cramps here because I'm not seeing any responses. Maybe it's on my end. You seeing any, Robert? Okay, so here we go. They go to voicemail. Okay, anybody else? What happens? They go to you direct. Okay, answer myself or voicemail. Do all of you have an attorney or an accountant or a other person that, physician anyone that is an expert, and you're all trying to put yourselves out there as local consultants and local experts, experts don't answer their phone. Experts are hard to get hold of. Experts are not easy to get hold of. And so when it goes right to your phone, or it goes right to voicemail, or it goes wherever the heck you got it going, if it's not being answered by a live person, it is sending a subconscious message to your prospect, and now you've put a little roadblock in the way of that sale. Okay? Keith says he's currently with another client. Can I get back with you as soon as I am free? No, that's not the answer, Keith. The answer is you don't answer. Okay? We don't want you answering. Carl, I use Ring Central too. I would not use it for this though. I would strongly encourage you all to get an answering service. You can get a local one, and I've provided down here who we use. I think there's one called Ruby something or other, and we use a company called Answer First. It's like, how much is it, Robert?
I think it's $79 a month, and that includes
whatever it is. It's under
$100
a month, 70, 80 bucks a month. A live person answers. They take a message, and I'll even tell you what they say. They say, "I'm sorry, Brian and Robert, whoever they're calling for, or Mark, or whoever, is with a client currently and not available. If it's urgent, I'd be more than happy to try to locate him for you. If not, if you leave a message, I'm sure he'll get back to you as quickly as possible." Okay? So we're putting a barrier up. And so when that person calls now, it's not a voicemail. They don't go into voicemail hell. They actually get a live person answering the phone, saying something to them that is intelligent, and actually reinforcing in their mind that we are busy. So does that make sense? Make sense? Okay, good. So, by the way, this is not an affiliate link or anything else, okay? It's just, we use Answer First. There's probably one in your town. They're very, very inexpensive. What do you wear? Okay? So I'm sitting in the office and wearing a Burberry shirt, slacks, and nice shoes because I had an appointment today and have an appointment after this. I look more like this person, okay? And, what would you think if the doctor walked in wearing tennis shorts? You wouldn't feel too good. What happened if your lawyer came to meet with you in a sweatsuit? Not too good, okay? So these things matter. I don't care really what anybody says, to be very honest. These things matter, okay? How you look, especially that first impression. Now, if you already have a relationship with somebody, it's something different. But I'm talking about you actually dealing with a customer or a prospect and what you look like and what it says about you, okay? What do you write with? Do you write with a Bic pen, or do you have a Mont Blanc? I keep a Mont Blanc, and you know why I keep a Mont Blanc? And I actually have 3 Mont Blancs. I mean, I'm a pen freak, but that's a whole separate conversation. But I have a Mont Blanc, and the last one I took with me didn't even have ink in it. I just kept it in my pocket because it sends a signal. And folks, I hope you're paying attention to this because this really, really, really makes a difference, and it's so easy to do. What's your website look like? Okay? Your website either looks one of two ways. It looks like this, and if this is your site and you're on here, I apologize, but this site's just plain ugly, okay? And doesn't telegraph any benefit to the visitor. And this is for a web designer, okay? And I see these all the time, trying to be slick and trying to be cute. This is hideous, okay? Look at this, though, okay? This is our website, Trackable Response. It looks like a real business. And if I can go on here, I'm actually going to kind of show it to you if I can. Let me see if I can show this to you. I may not be able to. Nope, doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. But maybe towards the end of this I'll show it to you. But you can go to Trackable Response, and you see that, you know, oh, here we go. So I am going to be able to show it to you. Let me bring it over so we know who's technically inclined and not inclined here, right? Can everybody see that? Robert, can you see that?
I sure can.
Okay. So you see here our logo. You see here our phone number. You see here our services, free consultation. Not trying to really even sell you anything. The truth is, if you go to this website, you can't even buy anything. There's nothing for sale, right? So you want to learn more about mobile. You want to learn about your reputation. And then we have at the bottom, you know, it's all about calling us for a consultation. And then you have at the bottom here various different businesses, and this should be scrolling. I'm not sure why it's not. But again, it shows that we're an AdWords certified partner, a Google developer, and it's all about requesting a free consultation. So think about that, okay? And then, of course, we have one that is just for the auto business. And down here we have our logos that are related to the auto industry. And you can see right in the header, the auto, you know, and everything in here. All the success stories are all clients that are auto related. So that's a niche site. It's Trackable Response Auto, because I'm sure all of you are curious. So I just want you to see this. What image are you giving people out there? What do you look like? Okay? And what you look like is what they get this immediate impression of. Okay? The person writing with the big pen, the person that has this website, the person that has this website. And by the way, I know some of you will ask, please understand I'm not trying to sell you anything, but if any of you would like one of those web designs, this is a theme that we've put together. It works for us. We look at our conversions, and if you provide the content and the logo, I know many of you need help with this, which is the only reason we're offering it. We'll build it and set it up for you, and we'll even host it for you if you want. Just send us a ticket, support@trackableresponse.com, and we're only going to be able to help 3 customers, and the FCFS is first come, first serve, because, you know, again, we're not trying to sell you anything. But if you need help with this, just let us know. So what do you write on, okay? So, you know, when I first started this, I'm very old school, and I'll give you all kind of like a shameless confession here. I'm very old school. And so I went to meet with a friend of mine who owns a technology company selling to doctors, lawyers. He's basically become an in-house IT department for professionals, okay? And, you know, I mean, look, everybody knows how old I am. I'm 50. And this was very early on, maybe about 3 years ago. 4 years ago. So I went to his office and I brought my notepad and my planner, you know, with all the disheveled papers in it. And he says, so what are you doing again? I said, well, I started a digital marketing company. He goes, yeah, you really look like one. I mean, I love that pad. I love the way you're scheduling your notes. So you see, I instantly gave him the impression that I am not a digital marketing company. And I immediately, that same day, went out and bought an iPad, and I bring my iPad as a prop to most of the meetings I go to. Sometimes I actually use it. But the point is, that was a signal to him that I'm full of crap, okay? So again, what signal are you sending to your client subconsciously that's telling them you're accurate and consistent, or you're full of crap? What kind of phone do you use? This happened to me again yesterday. I'm sitting with a gentleman who happens to be a friend, and he's now become very, very active in the mobile marketing space. And he's telling me all about everything he's doing in the mobile marketing space. And then he gets a call on his BlackBerry, and it wasn't the new BlackBerry, okay? It was an old BlackBerry. And so he sent me a signal that, what? Type in the box if you know the signal he sent me. Anybody know what signal he sent me? Yep, he sent me I'm full of crap signal, okay? Because somebody that is in the mobile technology space that has a 8-year-old BlackBerry with the ball on it, well, guess what? That's inconsistent. And so what I'm telling you is be consistent with what you say, because everybody's BS meters are so high and on such full alert right now that if you're going to be acting inconsistently, they sniff you right away. And then you're left wondering, gee, I wonder why I didn't get that deal. Gee, I wonder why they don't call me back. Gee, I wonder what the problem was. So there you go. What does your letterhead look like? Our letterhead has a professional logo. It has our address at the bottom, our phone number, an email address. You can't see in here, but it has our logo of Google and Apple. What do your business cards look like? Does it say Vistaprint on the back? Really? Really? Does it really say that? So is this making sense to everybody? Help me out here, because I can't hear you. I don't know what you're thinking. Does all this make sense? Okay, so Brian says, yup. Carolyn says, yup. Who else, folks? I really want to know what you're thinking here. Okay. So where do you meet with these people? Okay, very, very important question. Are you meeting them at their office? Because if you meet someone at their office, guess what you've done? You've lost the power, okay? If they are meeting you at your office, you have the power. And this is very like high power persuasion, psychological information, but please use this. What does your office look like? Very, very, very important. Don't minimize it, okay? And I would suggest that you even rent the space. There are title companies, real estate companies, attorneys. Just about every business in every town has an opening right now based on the economy where you could share office space. If the worst is the worst, go to a company and ask them if you can borrow their conference room once in a while. And pay them $100 a month or $200 a month, or go to a shared office space. But look the part, folks. Look the part. You also have to be very careful what words you're using. Do you speak like you know what you're talking about? Do you carry yourself like you know what you're talking about? So I'm going to open it up for any questions on this topic, and then we have a special guest with us who's been very active in the, I believe it was local client formula area, and he's got a story he wants to share with us. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Who has a question on what we've covered so far, or any question at all, by the way? So if you could type it in the question box, or if you'd like us, if you want to raise your hand, we'll be happy to even open up the mic.
I saw someone in the question area mention Regis offices, which is like a shared office space.
Yeah,
and I've had those before. Those are really nice, but you have to be careful with the contracts because they have some real fine print in there that can lock you in for way longer than it seems like you're being locked in for. So just be careful, and a lot of them are like that. So just keep an eye on that if you do it. But those are really good ways to get a nice office, or even a virtual office. To be allowed to go in there and work from in a shared room, but also have access to a conference room that's real nice. They have one in Baltimore here that overlooks the harbor. It's really beautiful.
So anybody want to raise their hand if you have a question? If you have a mic, I'll be happy to open it up and take your question. I'm not seeing any questions, Robert. Are you?
Don't think so, no.
Okay, well, if there are no questions, silly because this is your time to get some help from us. But if nobody's got one, that's fine. I'm going to open up John's mic. John, are you there?
I am.
Hey, John, you sound good.
Thanks.
So we were in the local client formula area, and John and I were sort of going back and forth, and I was congratulating John, and we should all congratulate John, by the way, on taking some serious action. And I thought it would be useful for John to come on, kind of share with us the challenges he's had over the past number of years, and kind of how he's gotten back on track and some successes. I got to tell you something. The beauty of being in the local client formula Facebook group and the Ultimate Market Takeover separate Facebook group that's a private group, is, you know, many times our significant others, our families, our friends, they really have no idea what the hell we go through on a regular basis. So when we have a win, they can't appreciate it. When we have a challenge, they don't really understand the pain. So, you know, everybody show some love to each other in there. So, John, tell us your story real fast.
Thank you, Brian. A little background on me. I started in the local business space 10 or 12 years ago. Tried it on my own, just reading as much as I could and learning as much as I could through that. Early in its formation, I got involved with a forum called the LBB, or the Local Biz Builders Forum. Became one of the first real powerful forums where folks like us that cater to that local business crowd began to gather, share ideas, had our own little sort of WSO section there. It grew in popularity. Some bigger names came on board. I actually owned that forum for a couple of years. It is now in the hands of very capable Scott Gallagher, who is, you know, one of the other big names in the space. So I've been at this for about 10 years. Took a bit of an injury in 2004. Actually broke my neck, so I was out of commission for pretty much everything for the better part of 18 months recovering from that. Lost some footing in the space myself in that time. Fell out of touch with the current techno and SEO and, you know, Google updates and so forth. So it took me a little while to reestablish my own knowledge base to have any confidence to move forward. From there, began helping out, again, local businesses in very small ways. We opened my partner, my wife, and myself opened a website called Cape Cod Holistic, and our purpose with that was to reach out to the massage therapists and energy workers and folks like that that may not have a real connection down at the local Chamber of Commerce, because they tend to not, at the local chamber, they tend to not understand that money is energy and that it's, you know, it's just not considered in the same way. And so there's a bit of a communication gap there. So I wanted to be the go-between, the liaison, the person that could understand one side and explain it to the other, so on and so forth. So our website began. We have it's very slow growing, but it's holistic providers directory, a community calendar, things like that. Some other areas that we have touched on and that are connected to the site. But again, the biggest part of our business, other than that, has been consulting. Part of that is an MLM that we're associated with, and I won't get into that at all right now. But what I do is under the consulting umbrella. Any questions so far before I go on to my next part?
Well, so yeah, I mean, you're in Cape Cod.
Yes.
And you know, and I think that's a really good background. Thank God you've gotten past the medical issue.
Yes, thank you.
And you know, look, we all lose traction every once in a while for a whole host of different reasons, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you manage to get back on track and have that little success that you shared? And tell everybody what the success was and how that all came about.
Well, it came about through just normal life. You know, the closest restaurant to my home happened to be the one that we'd go to the most often. They have great food. Got to be friendly with the management and the ownership, and it was more about that, about just the relationship, about just enjoying their place and the rapport and the atmosphere in there. Finally got comfortable in conversation with the owner of the place, Steve, to sort of step over that line, because he is a professional, he's got a restaurant, and now I felt that I was ready to get back into the ring, if you will, or the octagon. And
so I want to stop you there for a second, John.
Sure.
Because did everybody hear what he just said?
Warm market.
No. You said something far more important. You said, I thought I was ready for this. right?
I did say
You
that.
felt that you were finally ready to go back in the ring, so to speak, in your words,
Yes.
to attempt this. You felt enough confidence in your own abilities to be able to do this.
Yes.
That's big, folks. I hope you all heard that, because that has to happen before anything happens. And when that happens, you stop doing busy work to make yourself think you're doing something, and you actually go out and start selling. So go ahead, John. I just wanted to point that out.
All right. My biggest focus with him, or with anyone at this point, is the inbound marketing portion of this. When somebody gets that, when they really understand that, you know, a single website is a single sign in the middle of the desert. But the more that you're able to, as we know, get that sign in front of people with money in their pockets, the better off you're going to be as the restaurant, as whatever business it is that you approach. So now how many different ways can we get a sign in front of someone? With a restaurant, it's as simple as using QR codes and asking people to join your VIP program so that they get discounts or specials, or, you know, 2-for-1 desserts, or 25% off now, and even take it from there. This particular restaurant happens to have the best single malt Scotch whiskey collection on the Capes. You know, that's one of his taglines, and he throws special evenings for his Scotch drinkers. Closes down the restaurant because, as it is in many places, you're not allowed to smoke inside here unless you close down the whole restaurant and you're inviting in cigar smokers. Oh, what? Cigar smokers who like Scotch? Even better. So now we're, you know, with that, he doesn't even realize the ability that he's got to drill down even deeper and do his own niche marketing and have those specialties outside of his big mailing list, outside of his big phone list. So he just was really sold on the ability, sort of on demand, to put butts in seats in his restaurant. And that was the gist of it. I added on some other things along with that, value-added benefits, if you will. Some video marketing, some Facebook marketing. I'm going to take over the management of his Facebook page and social media. Just all of these things so that I can control the outcome for him. He sees the results that he's seeking and that he wants. Proves my ability. This is simple for me. I'm sure it's fairly easy for a lot of us that are out here doing this right now. It's getting easier, and if you don't know how, it's very easy to learn how. So that was the particulars of this latest case. And
so how'd you wind up, John? And I thank you so much for sharing so openly. And that's one of the things I really love about our group, is everybody sharing both problems and issues and successes, by the way. So was anything that you found in our group, or anything that we sort of shared, was any of that useful for you?
Pretty much all of it. Pretty much all of it. I love to read, so I'm in the group every day. I read everybody's issues. I read everybody's problems. Love the stuff that you guys put out. So it's all feeding me. This is part of my daily study, is visiting the group, and much in the style of Dan Kennedy, I don't want to just file it away and overanalyze it. I'm going to implement it. If I see something that makes me go, ooh, 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 you can bet that that's going to be in my marketing either today or by the end of the week.
Well, and you're an implementer, and that's what I think is so beautiful also. I mean, look, I can't help, the Dan Kennedy in me, because I had the privilege of working really very closely with Dan for a number of years, and actually co-creating and running 2 businesses in that group.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to hear a lot of Kennedy in me, because that's sort of who my mentor and teacher and person I look up to is. And again, I feel fortunate that I was able to actually sort of work with him in certain businesses, very closely. So, does anybody have any questions for John? If you can type it in the box. John, thank you. I really, really am excited for you. I think you got some good momentum and mojo happening, and want to make sure that we all thank you for everything you shared.
I appreciate
does anybody have any Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say I appreciate the time that you've given me to share here, Brian. And you know, I'm here. I'm available if anybody wants to, you know, ask me questions, bounce questions off me. JV, hello, JV. I'm available.
Okay. Well, God bless. And if you have any, I'm going to ask, you know, if anybody has any questions for John, just type them in the box and we'll get them. And I see that Carolyn has had her hand up for quite some time, and I'm sure her arm hurts by now. Here she is. Hello, Miss Carolyn.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Let me just say, before anybody else, if you have any questions, raise your hand, and we're more than happy to let you on. So Carolyn's had an interesting week, huh?
I sure have.
Tell them about it, Carolyn.
Like everything?
Well, you tell them whatever you feel like telling them. Tell them things that will be useful and helpful for somebody that's spending their time on this call.
Okay. And I'm probably going, you know, talking about the ultimate market takeover aspect of things.
It's your question, so it's your show.
Okay. Well, well, first off, I want to go back to like why I raised my hand in the first place.
Sure.
Is that the first part of the call? If we are working, or the goal is, let's say, to be the expert in a particular area, perceived expert in that area.
When you say area, are you saying geographical area or niche?
Good question. I meant niche.
Okay.
How is there a lot of FaceTime, or is this kind of like just things to do if it happens to be somebody in our geographical area that we're going to see?
Well, well, I mean, obviously the way you dress, okay,
Right.
if you know, and the writing utensil you use and the phone you have with you, all of those things are important if you're meeting people face to face. By the same token, if you are in a niche and you are working with people across the country in that niche, it's not face to face, and you're doing something like join.me or GoToMeeting or whatever the case may be. I always like to turn on my, you know, the camera function on my computer because I like to see a face, and I like them to see my face. Sometimes not always a good idea, but if I was sitting at home in my underwear, I would at least be wearing a suit and tie top. How's that?
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay.
But your website and other things about you, like your letterhead and your business card, I mean, you know, seeing someone send me a business card and it's got Vistaprint on the back, that tells me you're a knucklehead.
Right. One thing I notice with a lot of your materials, sometimes you can see the picture of whoever you'd be talking to on the website. And of course, the picture, someone would be very nicely dressed up and, you know, standing in a, you know, power position or like, I know more than you do kind of look. Would you recommend that as well? Or
strongly. Strongly.
Okay. Cool. All right.
So I mean, if you look at local client formula, basically if you look at the graphic in local client formula, just even on the page itself, it really kind of positions Robert and I as experts, but without that serious look. I'm a little bit more laid back, although Robert will probably disagree with that, right, Robert?
Maybe.
But you know, I mean, you get the idea from the graphic right away without it being too cheesy, if that makes sense. But people want to, you know, we talk about Dan Kennedy. Here's something Dan Kennedy's famous for saying. People are walking around with their umbilical cord in their hand looking to plug it into someone, and your job is to get them to plug it into you. So does that make sense, everyone? Carolyn, does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. I don't think, you know, you don't always have to go for that stern, you know, I'm a genius kind of look, but you do want to go for that I'm a genius kind of feel, because they have to see you that way or they won't be able to, you know, they won't be able to relate to you, and they won't be able to give you money, which is terrible. So without revealing your niche, Carolyn, you want to tell everybody a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, so far, found a niche that seems to be underserved. There are people in it who are competing, which I'm slowly seeing as a good thing. And turns out that, surprise, surprise, the National Association is meeting this weekend in my town.
Huh.
So I've been on the phone. I've joined the state, one of the state associations already, and been on the phone with the national. And so it looks like I'll be having a busy weekend.
And this is a business that is in every city in the country, and people are literally dying to get into this business. Is that fair?
That would be a fair assessment, yes.
Okay, good. All right. Any other questions you have, Carolyn?
No, sir, not at the moment.
All right. You're awesome. I got, you all ought to give Carolyn a big round of applause, because Carolyn is also very much a doer and implementer. And Carolyn, I just dropped something in the mail to you today, so be on the lookout for it.
Okay, I will.
I also see that John wrote in the chat box that he's 53 years old, long hair, hippie, and can't change that. So maybe I'll put a Grateful Dead album in the mail out to John. But no, I respect that. See, look, people, just be very sensitive to people always looking at the signals to see if you are being consistent or inconsistent, and the little things. The whole point of today's session really is to tell you that those little things that you take for granted matter when someone's making their first impression on you. So just, be sensitive to that. Any other questions before we wrap up? Anything Robert wants to talk about? What are you up to, Mr. Robert Dickson?
Up to
How's
a lot.
your week changed?
My week, it's been good. We've been extra busy, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But Brian and I have actually hired some new staff remotely on Odesk this week to handle the increasing loads. So we're slowly but surely getting some more of the work off of our plate and on to our team, which is streamlining things and making it easier for us to scale and to grow.
Great. So I'd like you all to do me a favor, and I don't ask for much, but I'd like you all to do me a favor. I would like you all to go into the appropriate Facebook group, whether it's Ultimate Market Takeover, if you're a private member, or if you are a member of Instant Sales Army and the local client formula. If you can go into that Facebook group. I really would like to know what your takeaway was from this meeting, from this webinar, because the more we share and the more we help each other and the more we can talk in our community, really the better. So did everybody feel that this almost 45 minutes that we've spent together, that they have something actionable that they can take away? If you could just type in 1 in the box if you had something you could take away, or 2 if you didn't, I would greatly appreciate it. So let me see that right now. Always like to know how we're doing, if everybody's gotten useful information. This has been a good use of your time. So type in a 1 if it was good, and type in a 2 if it was terrible. So we got lots of 1s. 1, 1, 1, got takeaways. 2, oh, well, that's fair. We got a 2. But I think he meant to make it a 1. Don't you, Robert?
I don't see the 2, so I don't know.
Okay, that was, okay, so 1, 1, 1. Oh, no, you know what? It was a 1. That was a different question. It says to me direct. So thanks, Stan. So we got lots of 1s. Folks, don't just take away, implement, okay? Implement what we have. We'll see you next Thursday. If you have a question, let us know. We'll be happy to answer them on these. We'll try to post a replay. And there's some really good replays, by the way. If you're not a member of the Instant Sales Army or Ultimate Market Takeover, you might want to check it out and see if it's for you. You can check them both out, the local client formula page. But I want you all to take action. I want you all to be successful, and we want to help you overcome your obstacles, and we want you to share your successes because we're a big family here. So with that, I'll sign off. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week.